You know, there ought to be a law against a spigot like this. First of all, it's leaking like a sieve. It's underground. It's hard to get to. We got a mosquito magnet down here. We're going to show you how to bypass the problem and mount a new spigot right up here. It's going to be easy, and we're going to show you how. For most plumbing projects, the first thing you want to do is to cut off the water to the house. We're going to take a look inside the meter, and in order to do that, we have to have a key like this. You can buy one at a hardware store or home center, and you ought to have one in case of an emergency. Now the cutoff is on the street side of the meter, and it's down deep in here, and it's sort of cramped quarters. We're not going to dig down to find it, but we're going to use this pipe to sight down to find out where the actual house cutoff is, and we'll go down and take a look at that. Now we're going to find our cutoff right in under here. If your house has a basement, you're probably going to be able to go down in the basement and find the cutoff. But I can see that this is what we're looking for. Now that we got the water cut off, we need to remove the spigot so we can bypass the problem. And in order to do that, we're going to have to do some sawing in very close quarters. Well, finally, we got this bad boy out of there. Our next step is to take the copper pipe and cut it to fit. We'll dry fit it so we know it's going to come out the way we want to, and then we'll solder it out on the ground. Now, our first fitting is going to be this 90-degree elbow. We're going to put it right down there, and we're going to run our line over to the wall here. So we need to measure. That's going to be about 9 inches. Next, we want our upright to come all the way up here, so we end up with our spigot being right about here on the wall, and that will be about 28. So let's get started. We've made our mark here, and we're going to make our first cut. We're using a tube cutter. It's the ideal thing when you're working with copper pipe. And all you need to do is tighten it down, twist, tighten it down, twist, and just keep doing this. It's going to give you a perfect cut. There we go. Well, we have cut our longer piece, and we've got the spigot at the top. We'll put this piece on there and take it over and see if it fits. Now we drilled a hole in the plastic here so that we could run it straight out from this elbow. Now that fits, and let's see if this is going to come up right. That's just exactly where we wanted it, right there. So now we need to take it back apart and go out there and solder most of it together. Now the key to a good pipe joint is to have several things going for you. One of them, you have to get all the oxidation off the copper. Even though this is brand new, it needs to be cleaned with an abrasive. And this fits right over there, and then you just start turning, and it's going to clean it for you. It should be real shiny when we get through. Now you can see that's really good and shiny, and that's going to help to give us a real good joint. Also, we have to do the same thing on the inside of the fitting. Any place where you're going to have any solder, you want to clean it off real good. You don't have to use a tool like this. You can use any kind of an abrasive to do this with, but this really makes it easy. Now the next thing we want to do is to test fit it, be sure everything's going to fit. And that's not going to be a problem since we had to do the dry fit, but there it does. It fits on there good. Now we're going to take it off and add a little bit of paste flux. Now one of the things you want to do is to put the heat on the fitting, not on the pipe. You have to wait until it gets hot, and when it does, the capillary action caused by the paste flux is going to suck the solder right in there. Sort of like magic. Now water can really ruin your sweat joint, so what we want to do is put a little ball of bread. We've got it wadded up, and we'll put it down in there, and what will happen is the bread will absorb what little bit of water is down in there, and then when we get the joint soldered, we're then going to be able to turn the water back on, and it'll send all the bread out the first time you turn the faucet on. Let's put the fitting down in place. Come on, baby. There we go. Now we're ready to start soldering. Next we have to attach this to the concrete. And because it was concrete, we used a hammer drill to drill these holes and put anchors in there. And that ought to give us a secure fastening. Now anytime you're going to use a threaded connection with a plumbing fixture, you want to be sure and use either Teflon tape or pipe dope. I like to use this stuff, which is the Teflon tape. By using these different products, you're going to ensure that you don't have any seepage around the threads, because that's just as bad as if you ruined the washer. Well, that ought to do it. Now if we can just turn the water on, we're in business. Hey, it works. You know, plumbing is really pretty easy. It just takes a lot of patience. Once you learn how to do it though, you'll be able to save yourself a whole bunch of money.